Good afternoon and welcome back to a new week. It's Monday, 31st of March. I have no idea what fucking week it is because I know I've missed several weeks of recording. So I don't know where we're at anymore. If you watched my last episode, you would know that yesterday on the 30th of March, I missed one of my key sessions, a 5.5 hour bike ride. And mentally, it was fucking hard. Don't get me wrong, my body felt like shit, I felt like shit, and I really just had so much on my plate that I really needed to get it done and I didn't have any other time. I've missed sessions in the past, but never a key session like that, so mentally it was pretty hard to deal with, if I'm honest. But we're back, I'm feeling better, new week, let's fucking reset. We have 3 weeks left in this build, and then we're hitting a taper. So let's fucking get it. I'm pumped, I'm amped, it's amazing what a reset does. And rule of thirds, I was telling myself yesterday, rule of thirds. So I'm a big believer in, during something like this, 30% of the time you should feel great, 30% of the time you should feel okay, and the other 30% of the time, 33% of the time, you should feel shit. And if you don't, if you're never in one of those thirds, if 90% of the time you're feeling like shit, you're probably doing something wrong, you probably need to taper it back or change something, look at something. And if 90% of the time you're feeling great, then you're probably not training hard enough. So I think I'm exactly where I need to be. Sometimes missing a session like that, although it can be as mentally tough as it was, it's a good reset. So I'm fucking pumped, I'm amped, let's go get it done. Just here at the pool, have a swim this afternoon. I think it's 3k, so I'm going to go do that before squad starts. Bye. It's very windy. It's 1st of April. We are less than 5 weeks out. I'm going to try and stand this way. I just have a 60-minute zone 2 run on the cards. So pretty cruisy through the week, and then so I'm working Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. to 3 p.m, and then on Saturday, Sunday I have 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. shifts. So I'll have my long bike session and run Saturday and Sunday, which will probably suck pre-work, but gotta do what you gotta do. Anyway, cruisy through the week, so I can't complain. My hip, my left hip, my non-operator side is fucking torturous. It is killing me. I tried to book an appointment with my surgeon. He's not available for 3 months. This motherfucker. Take all my money and then won't help me in the future. Look, not his fault. Obviously, people need new hips and knees. So I'll book him with my GP for the for the certain type of steroid injection I want. GPs can refer. So I'll try and go through her and see what we can come up with. I hope it works, because fuck, it's killing me. It did work last time. I had the same injection on my right hip, however I tore my labrum as well as the arthritis issues, and it didn't do anything for my right hip. However, for my left hip, significantly improved it. So anyway, it's about to fucking piss down. Whoa. Again, another week of rain, joy. So I'm going to go run and then I'll chat to you later. Bye. Good afternoon, guys. It's Sunday the 6th of April. I apologise because I haven't filmed anything this week. So the last thing you would have seen is I went for that run. And during that run, something happened to my hamstring and it immediately stopped me running. I waited, a minute or so, and it sort of, I thought, went away. I started running again. And I ran like 200 metres with a bit of a limp and then just sort of disappeared. However, once I finished my run and I began to cool down, and then the following day there was like significant pain around like my hip, upper hamstring region. And it was like pretty average. One of my friends happens to be a radiographer, and she managed to book me in for an appointment for an MRI. So I went and got an MRI done, and what I thought was my hamstring causing some issues. Managed to find quite a large sack of fluid in my hip joint on my operated side, which was confusing for me because you normally get bursitis through inflammation of something, and given my hip is artificial, not real, I was confused at how it becomes inflamed when you begin to accumulate fluid. Had a chat with my surgeon, and he's like, look, mate, we obviously have to get it drained. Like, it's quite large. He's like, the reason it happens is people like yourself younger people that get arthritis, or anyone that gets arthritis for that, your tendons start to decalcify at a similar rate. It's very common. And it's like, so your tendon, obviously through the repetition of what you're doing, would become inflamed, and hence getting the fluid in your joint. He's like, it probably is causing you a lot of issues given how large it is. Like, there's not a lot of room for anything to move around in. And I felt of recent, like, lack of mobility, etc., etc. But so I haven't trained it all this week, trying to sort of just rest it, see if we can get some of that inflammation down. And I've felt like shit, to be honest, in terms of just feeling like I've lost all my progress. I'm really unsure what I'm going to do about Port Macquarie. I've reached out to Ironman to see if I can transfer my event to Cairns. Just the timing of it all, like, it's 4 weeks out from Port Macquarie now. I'm supposed to be in a 4-week build, with that ending on the 21st of April and beginning my taper. So with that less than 3 weeks away, and I having not even really started my build, I think it's probably silly for me to try and rush through it. And I think it's better if I just transfer to Cairns. However, logistically, it is a bit of a nightmare. We now have to pay like 50% of the Airbnb because we passed the cancellation date. Of course, it happened on the last day to cancel the Airbnb. Given myself and the boys were all shift workers, it's incredibly hard for all of us to get annual leave at the same time. So we obviously have to make that request, and we're like, none of us are even sure if we can get it at the time. And then obviously the cost associated. We were driving down to Port Macquarie this time. There was no flights involved, etc., etc. So yeah, it's a little up in the air at the moment, but essentially I'm just waiting on that email from Ironman Australia to say, yeah, it's all good, you can transfer your event, and then I'll start the process of getting everything going for Cairns. So Cairns is the likely option from here on out, but we will see. I'd say, yeah, haven't done a lot of training this week. I'm going to begin to pick it up next week. I haven't got an appointment to drain the fluid yet, because I've been shut over the weekend, so hopefully be able to do that tomorrow, and get that done next week. And then I have to see my surgeon on the 19th of May, and we'll do some sort of steroid injection into the tendon to try and stop it becoming inflamed. And he said, if it happens again, which is likely to, given the exercise and whatnot you do, like keyhole surgery might have to be an option. I'm not sure what's involved in that surgery, but I imagine something to, somewhat stop the inflammation somehow. But anyway, that's my update. I do apologise, there's not been much this week, but highs and lows of Ironman, I guess. It's okay. It's all part of the process, I guess. So, I will see you next week for a better update. Well, Monday, 7th of April. Apologise for last week. I know I didn't record anything given my leg. It's a bit of an update. On Wednesday this week, I'm going to get my leg drained. And then I have a steroid injection going into my tendon to try and stop the inflammation. If that doesn't work long term, which my surgeon thinks is unlikely given the amount of exercise I do and whatnot, we might have to look at surgical options. We've just jumped on the bike this afternoon. I'm also going to go for just a small run, maybe 30 minutes, just to see how I feel. And yeah, like, it does suck, but obviously I can't miss things forever, so we'll carry on. Hopefully Wednesday really sorts things out, and I guess the coming days after Wednesday will really be the tell as to what I do. Still haven't heard anything from Ironman about whether I can transfer to Cairns, and logistically it's a bit of a nightmare. I'm not going to lie, so I'm a bit up in the air of whether I'm going to do Port still or going to do Cairns, but Anyway, so I just had an hour and a half on the bike, 4 by 15 minutes at 250 watts, sub 60 cadence, so strength efforts. And then yeah, I'll just do a zone 2, 30-minute run. and we'll see how we feel go tomorrow. On the program, I'm supposed to be doing 6 hours on the bike tomorrow. I guess I'll see how after the run. And I'll let you know tomorrow, I guess. It's Wednesday the 9th of April. Yeah, April. So, a little update. I'm at Brisbane Private Hospital. This is where I got my surgery done on my hip. I'm getting my hip drained, so I have a seroma in my hip. I can't remember what I told you the other day, to be honest, but I have a seroma in my hip. It's quite large. It's like about the size of a golf ball. I'm getting it drained and then having a steroid injection into it to try and stop the tissue from, like, I guess, bleeding and filling with fluid again. And we'll see if that rectifies the issue. My surgeon seems to think it will refill over time and we'll likely have to do keyhole surgery later on to remove the stroma. However, I'm hoping today rectifies all the issues of why I have pain. And then it can be as simple as a couple of days rest, back into the build. But Ironman have been a bunch of cunts, to say the least. They won't transfer my event. For what reason, I don't know. The other events I'm trying to transfer to, they're not sold out. I'm not asking for a refund. They're not going to be at a loss. It sucks that they're like that as an organisation, just trying to monopolise like where they can. To be honest, I've never heard good things about them as an organisation, and it's funny because you think their whole, like what they build their races around is, you know, overcoming adversity and building resilience, etc., and then they go ahead and just do shit like this. So pretty asshole-ish of them. However, I've got to run in. We'll go do this appointment. We'll see how we go. I'll see if I can film it, but I have a feeling they won't let me. 10th of April. It's Thursday. I just finished a swim. It's just 2800. It's the first time I've done any sort of activity in a hot minute, so well, I've been a sad sack. I had my hip drained yesterday, and although it relieved quite a bit of pressure in areas, and I definitely got back a heap of mobility, I don't think it's the cause of my pain. Fuck, that's a loud car. I feel like since it's drained, I've realised that the pain, I guess it's easy to tell like where it's isolated. I guess when you have pain sort of in a general area, it's really hard to pinpoint. And the only way to, I guess, isolate it is to subtract what may be causing it issues. And obviously, subtracting the fluid in my hip, I don't think it's it. So I'm getting a lot of pain laterally, and it's very like acute, sharp pain. Obviously there was nothing in the MRI, nothing that was made mention of. I don't know what it could be, given my hip isn't fucking real. It's easy to tell on the other side, like it's arthritis, like the same thing I had prior with the hip before I had surgery, but yeah, I don't know what to say it is now. Why it's fucking hurting, I'm not sure. But I'm just going to try and go for a run, and this is literally a test run. I'm just going to try and do 3K. And then we will see where we're at, because I need to make a decision whether I'm going to do cans or not. So definitely out of Port Macquarie. Where the cans happen, we'll see in the coming days. But I'll go do this and I'll report back. I just finished my run. I did 3x1k with about 30 seconds rest in between. I don't know how to feel. I genuinely don't. Like, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible at all, but it wasn't great. It was there for sure, and it's hard. It's really hard to know if you can tolerate that for one, a further like 3 hours and 40 minutes, 3 hours and 50 minutes on top of doing a fucking swim and 180k bike ride. Like, it's really hard to make that decision, and I feel pressure to make a decision about Cairns Ironman, given it's so close, and I'm torn, because obviously I've put in a lot of effort getting to this point, to the point of like where I started building for Port Macquarie, and it's taxing, don't get me wrong. Like, the training is very taxing. It's a lot of hours. It's really fucking hard. Like, there's not much that's exciting about getting up at fucking 3:30 in the morning to ride your bike for 6 hours. there's really not much enjoyment in that. Most of your training is done alone. However, there's satisfaction in completing the training, knowing that it's for a greater purpose, being that of the race. And the race is just like phenomenal. It's an unreal feeling. Like, it's 100% the greatest achievement I've done in my life. So, there's purpose to the training, and there's also satisfaction and enjoyment in the training, knowing no one wants to fucking do it, but you're out there forcing yourself to do it. And I feel like there's a lot to learn within yourself when you force yourself to do something like that. Fuck. God, I hate it when I get all soppy like that. However, I feel a sense of pressure to make a decision because I want to put that training to use. And also, if I defer or transfer to something like Busselton, I then commit the next 7 months of the year towards that. And to be completely honest, I just don't know if I can. I'd love to do Busselton at the end of the year, don't get me wrong. However, I need a break in between. And I don't know if I can commit the next 7 months straight up. And to be completely honest, if you want to not lose your training, you need to enter a maintenance phase. Like, if I were to go on a break, pick back up in 2 to 3 months' time, like, it's almost starting from zero, especially with running. My bike I can pick back up pretty quick. Swimming you definitely have to maintain, and the running, absolutely. If I don't run for that 3 months, it's starting from zero again. So if I don't want the same result, I really need to enter a maintenance phase, and I sure as shit don't want to train for a whole 12 months straight to go back to Busselton to run the same time. So that's the dilemma I'm in. I'm just going to run again tomorrow. I'll push it out to maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that. And again, I'll see how I feel. And I'll make a decision by Sunday. And then, we'll see what happens. But I apologise. Once again, I feel like all I do is apologise on my YouTube because I just talk and I'm slack with it. But, thank you for sticking by me. Oh, I'm going home to eat food.